Good afternoon. This is Chapter 3A, Day 14, Section 3.8, Rates and Averages. So first thing we're going to talk about is what is a unit rate. And we've touched on this before. The definition of a unit rate is the amount of something, some object or quantity, amount of something per, and we've seen that before, per, and here's where the unit rate comes in. It's per one of something else. Per one of something else. And if you remember from what we did before, the word per is the fraction bar. For example, when you say miles per 1 gallon, per is the fraction bar between the two. So that would be miles per 1 gallon. So that is our first example of a unit rate. And it's one you're familiar with, miles per. And you can either say per gallon or you can say per 1 gallon. They're both a unit rate and they both imply 1 gallon, whether you say it or not. Okay, another example would be 2 cups of water. And here's another word instead of per. You can say for. 2 cups of water for an envelope of Jell-O. And again, for is the break in between the top and the bottom of the fraction. And an means one. An envelope means one envelope. So it is actually a unit rate. In fraction form, this would be 2 cups water for, so over 1 envelope of the Jell-O. All right, let's do another example of a unit rate. Let's say it is $3 for, and there's your fraction bar, for 2 Asian pears. I love eating Asian pears, and they are very expensive. So you have, now this is not quite a unit rate though, because it's for 2 Asian pears. So this is not a unit rate, but we can fix it. So to fix it so that it is a unit rate, we take $3 over 2 pears, and we have to divide the bottom into the top. That would be 1.5 over 1, and then you add in the units. So if it's not a unit rate, divide the bottom into the top and then add in the units. So 1.5, since the top was in dollars, 1.5 would be $1.50 per pair. P-E-A-R, there we go, per pair. And then in fraction form, that would be $1.50 over pair or per pair. So that's how you fix a rate and turn it into a unit rate. Divide the bottom into the top. Now, Roman numeral 2, on your worksheet, they're going to be asking you for what they call the average rate, which is just another way of saying unit rate. Average rate in this context is the same as unit rate. So, for example, they're going to say that you walk 5 miles in 2 hours. So first thing you need to recognize is the word in represents the fraction bar. So your average speed or your average rate is whatever your activity is over the time. So in this case, your activity is you're walking 5 miles, and it's going to happen in 2 hours. So to change this into an average rate or a unit rate, you divide the bottom into the top, and that gives you 2.5 miles over 1 hour. And another way to say that, or 2.5 miles per hour. So that's how you build a unit rate or an average rate from information given. Okay, Roman numeral 3. All right, we are going to convert a decimal or a fraction to a percent. Decimal or a fraction to a percent. And they're kind of on the same continuum of activity. So you start with your fraction, if that's what you have, and then you're going to divide the bottom into the top. That's going to give you your decimal. For most of what we're going to do, you're going to need 4 decimal places. And then to go from the decimal to a percent, you multiply by 100. So of course, if you're given a decimal, you just multiply by 100 and that gives you the percent. So for example, let's say you've got 5/6. So we want to change this to a percentage. So what we're going to do is divide the bottom into the top. We get 0.8333. And then we're going to multiply by 100. And that gives us 83.33. And this 3 rounds that 3 to stay a 3. So we get 83.3%. And that's why you go out 4 places so that you can round back to a single decimal place. Let's do one more example of this. Let's say you start with the decimal 0.329. So we're starting here in the process. So you're going to multiply by 100. That gives you 32.9. There's nothing to round, so that is your percentage. So that's just a quick review on how to go from a decimal or a fraction to a percent, which you're going to be doing. Okay, let's flip the page now. All right, Roman numeral 4, converting units. And again, we've been doing this a little bit, but we're going to do it a lot more in this section. Okay, so the first thing you need to know for converting units is you need to have a conversion fraction. And a conversion fraction equates 2 measures. Conversion fraction equates 2 measures. So one example of a conversion fraction that I'm sure you know is that 12 inches equals a foot. So your conversion fraction is either going to be 12 inches over 1 foot, or it could be 1 foot over 12 inches. So there's 2 ways you can use this conversion. Another example in metric would be 100 centimeters equal a meter. So your conversion fraction could be 100 centimeters over 1 meter, or 1 meter over 100 centimeters. You have to figure out which of those 2 conversion fractions will do what you need to do. The method that we're going to use for converting units is unit analysis. And again, we have done a little bit with this. So unit analysis is a method to change units using conversion fractions. Method to change units using conversion fractions. That would be unit analysis. Okay, so we're going to use unit analysis and our conversion fractions to do some conversions. Let's start with example 1. We're going to convert 50 meters into centimeters. Okay, so the first thing you want to think about is how meters and centimeters are related. Well, 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. If you don't know conversions, feel free to Google them on your homework when you need them. Okay, so first you start by taking what you've been given, which is 50 meters, and just put it over 1. 50 meters over 1. Now, you're going to multiply it by a conversion fraction, and you want meters to cancel. So your choice of which way this goes, meters on top, meters on bottom, is what will cause meters to cancel. Well, you know from prime factoring that if you have meters on top, you're going to want meters on the bottom, so they'll cancel. So my choice between these two is going to be to multiply by 100 centimeters over 1 meter. And my reason for that choice is meters on top, meters on bottom cancel each other out. So that's how you decide which of your two conversion fractions you're going to use. And then you just multiply straight across. 50 times 100 is 5,000 centimeters, and you are in the new units. State what you have over 1, decide which way the conversion fraction goes, cancel the units you don't want, and finish multiplying. All right, let's do another one. Let's say that you have $150 US, and you want to convert this to Canadian dollars. Okay. So the conversion for that is it's 1.4 Canadian dollars equals 1 US dollar, and both of them use dollars, which is confusing. So to do the conversion, write what you start with over 1. So 150, and I'm going to put US over 1. Now we're going to decide which one of these needs to go on the bottom. I want US to cancel, so I need US to be on the bottom of the fraction. So I'm going to multiply this times 1.4 Canadian dollars over 1 US dollar, because US on top, US on bottom, the units will now cancel out, and you just multiply straight across. So you end up with 210 Canadian dollars. And that is unit analysis. Have a good afternoon.